Hey everybody, Scroft here. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 25. Welcome back to our Oakbridge Farm series. Hope you're all doing really well. We're back on. We're going to be cracking on in this episode, doing a few jobs. I've also done a few changes that I'm going to talk about. It's actually been really nice this week. I've played FS25 a lot more than I normally would. With me having 2 weekends off from the farmhand, and I'm trying to make some videos to come out next week, which is when you're watching this. You know, I'm actually recording this a week before for when I'm away. It's just been nice to keep playing the game properly and experience it, because it's a strange one, because I hop between 22 and 25. I feel like there's a bit of a gap when I come back to 25, so it's nice to actually just get on a bit of a roll with the game on both series as well, the small holding and also on Oakbridge Farm. And I was thinking about this. This series is going to be a really good one to kind of progress and move to another map at some point. When a map that's suitable comes out, I feel like this is going to be my kind of accumulated Let's Play series. So the money that I'm holding and the debt that I'm holding and things like that will travel with me to the next map. I like the idea of that. So we're talking about debt. We've got £750,000 that I started off with. It's pretty hefty. I thought the best way to start off would be to pay off a bit of that. You know, we did well in the last episode. We sold all that grain. It took forever, but we did get some benefits from that. We obviously purchased a new cow shed, put this pasture in. I also got that beast of a header, the ideal harvester, literally the ideal harvester. It's a stunning thing. I can't wait to use it on the massive wheat field over there and on the oat field that we're going to be planting in this episode. And I also did a few other things. I'll go show you in a minute the dairy farm over the road, because I've made a couple of changes to that, and also repaired off all the equipment. So I've washed off the Ford, the Case and the John Deere, but I've also repaired everything that you can see in front of me. So that's all fully repaired, ready for another 12 months of work. And we did kind of blitz it. I mean, the Case especially was, you know, around about 30%. So it definitely needed some. I think it was the most expensive one for me to repair. It was like 7,000, so it was expensive to do. But we're still sitting at good money. I've sold a couple of items as well that I don't need. Basically, I sold the seeder. I got about 30,000 for it. So if we just jump into the finance tab, you can see 29,500. But I've also spent 9,000 on a roller. I actually decided to buy this. I thought, no, I'm leasing everything at the moment. It's like, let's buy something. And because it was only 9,300, I thought it was a decent price. I've only gone for 6 meters though, which is a bit of a crazy thing to do with the size fields. With the size fields I've got and the fat rollers, you can get a lot larger. So maybe that item I should have leased out after all. But 6 meters is still not bad. I mean, most of the seeders that I'm going to be using around 6 to 8, maybe something like that, 9 meters. So, I mean, we'll see how it gets on, but it's perfect for the oat field that I'm doing. I'm going to roll in this episode as well after I've planted. But yeah, we're not doing too bad. The one thing I do want to try and reduce on, because I'm going to travel over to another map at some point. It's not anytime soon. There's no map that stands out yet that I want to kind of move to. I mean, there's been a couple of good ones, but I feel like I'm waiting, see what comes out. But yeah, we're at 750,000. And I think, you know, with everything, we got that harvester, we did the most. I think we pay off 100,000. I think we just give ourselves, you know, a nice amount of money to sit with, which is 100k, and just repay 100,000. So let's bring that down. I've actually forgotten what I'm doing here. So I think we want to go down to 650. There we go. That's 650. So that's 100,000 down on the loan repayments. And if we go in here, does it show us in not loan interest, but is it like a loan repayment section? I don't know. Oh well. But anyway, we're 650. So we've done well. We've reduced a little bit. I mean, it's a lot of money, 100,000, but when you look at the size of loan we had, 750,000, doesn't really do much, does it? But anyway. It is what it is. It's small steps. I mean, if we did that every time we make a harvest, 100k or something along them lines, it'd take us about 8 years. So well into the next, I'm going to say well into the next map, because it's going to take a long time to get to year 8. But I'm already at year 3, so we're progressing. Anyway, let's have a look at this. I did put this down in the right at the end of the last episode, and it was full of, you know, the kind of like foliage, and I decided to clear it up and put a lot of meadow in it. So that's now set to have some cows in. Beef stock are going to be sitting in this, and they're going to be basically in the summer months. When we bring the milkers out, we're going to bring some beef stock out. Now, it only holds 19 cows. That's the problem. And a rotation I'm aiming at is around 2025. So it's still not going to have a full rotation out here, but it will save us in feed if we're just giving these meadow grass. But ideally, I would have liked this to hold about 25, so one rotation of what I'm planning with my beef stock. I also moved the fence because I found that when it was there, it kind of encroached into the ground as I was opening out. So I've put it here, which is a little bit better. I think it's a better entrance point as well. So this is going to be good to put some cows in. If we run over to our cows, we can have a quick look at them. I mean, there's not much that's gone on. I've just been feeding them. That's mainly all I've done to get into March. Got to think there's going to be a lot of jobs coming up. We've obviously got to do the fertilising in that field. The weeding's all been taken care of, but we need to put more tram lines in to kind of connect them. I think after that point as well, if we just jump over here, I will like link up here, and so on across. But then eventually I want to remove that out because it's just wasted. We don't need that. We can just drive up. So the next time round, I'm going to mulch, and then I'm probably going to cultivate. I'm not just going to direct seed in. I think that makes more sense. So I can then redo the tram lines. So, beef stock are all getting close to the age that I would like to sell them. So if we have a look, the beef stock here, 20. So actually we're only one off a rotation. It's 20, not 25. It's a shame that it didn't. It's a shame that it was 19 and not 20. If I just made it a little bit bigger, the pasture area, I would have got. Yeah, I probably would have got that extra one, but I didn't. You don't really see it, do you, when you're creating the actual boundary of the pasture you're putting down? It's only after you find out how much it can hold. That would probably be a really good mod to see. Just something that indicates, like, when you're putting a pasture down, the size of the pasture and how many animals it can hold by what you're doing. So that'd be a good idea for a mod. But anyway, you can see 23 months. Now, I want to sell beef stock at 24 months. So these are 1 month away from being at the right age. But the problem is, these are our breeding stock. We're not selling them. I've mentioned this before. We're at 60% reproduction. Month 27, we'll start getting calves from them. And then from that, we've got this beef holding pasture, which is going to be for meadow. That's 19. But then we've also got this one that I've called beef fattening. Now, that can hold quite a lot of cows. So we can put like 2 rotations in there. My aim with this one is I want to feed them the best, so I get the best price. Now, I can do that with hay and silage. It doesn't have to be a TMR. So, we don't have to give TMR to the beef stock. It doesn't make a difference. They're still going to have the maximum price if it's hay or silage. I think with these ones, I could potentially go down to like grass if it was possible, because there's no pasture with it. Again, these are just going to have to get fed hay or silage. But the meadow ones that we put out, say they're like calves that are 6 months old or whatever, 12 months old. They're not close to that 24-month mark when we're selling them. These can just have meadow grass at 40%. It doesn't really matter at all. And hopefully that'll save me feed. That's the plan with it. But the final one just needs to get given a good amount of feed. Make sure they're at that highest health and we get the highest price. Right, so let's jump over to where the cows are, the dairy stock, and we'll have a look here. It's a bit different for this. We want this to be TMR in the winter, especially. But then when they go out, I'm happy for it to be just hay and silage. You don't have to keep doing TMR. We can do. There's nothing stopping us from doing TMR. And if we've got the feed that it makes sense to do. Either way, it doesn't really matter too much. But I have made a few changes around here. So if we just jump over, I've made it now like a loop. So before this was kind of like grass, and I've put down the kind of concrete texture. So when they're out in the summer, they're there. I've also put a hedge row in across the wall on that side. But then here I've removed out this shed. So now we can drive through as a loop and just get easier access to this area where we're storing some bales. You can see that I'm really quite low down on hay. Definitely need to make some hay as soon as possible. I think that's the first thing I'm going to make in April when the grass gets to the next growth stage. We'll be doing some hay. I would like to do some silage in a bunker, to be honest, because TMR up here, it would be nice to have a bunker load of silage and then just some hay bales stacked. And I think I'm going to keep them all this time. Last time round, I didn't do too many and I sold a few of them. And it obviously wasn't enough. Whereas silage, we've got plenty of. I mean, I'd like more because we're now feeding more cows. So I think this time round, it might be a good aim to do. First cut is hay, keep them all. Second cut is silage, but in a bunker, keep all that. Third cut silage bales, and we're keeping all that. It's a shame because we're going to, we made a load of money from silage, but I'd rather get too much feed and then keep hold of it. And I also want to have silage bales because up on that farm, I haven't got a bunker and I like feeding just silage in a bale. It just makes it a lot easier. But that's pretty much what I've done. Now, at some point, we might expand out. We might remove this big shed here and build into this area. As long as we keep that main cow shed and then probably like the storage for the bales because it makes sense to do that. We could also put in something else, just to, I don't know, prolong something. Yeah, just to expand out. I don't think it'll be storage. I think it'd be more maybe, who knows, another shed for cows or I don't know. I've just noticed that as well. That is floating on that side. It's a weird one. I don't know why that is floating because I haven't actually terraformed anything there. It's all just level and flat. I feel like that shed might be a little bit misplaced. So I might try to sort that out in GE. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. I've just made it a loop so we can gain access, come around, fill up the feed mixer, then come around here and go through there. Another aim of mine is to get a bigger feed mixer because I think this one just, it can be bigger. It's filled up, mixed and ready to go, so when the cows need it, I can just put some feed, but right now they're not doing too bad. But it's nice to get some calves, newborn milkers. These are going to be important because we can generate, obviously, a lot of cash, and it's 10. The problem is we've just got to wait, haven't we, until they're at the right age to start milking. But not too bad. I like the changes I've done. Anyway, let's get into it. We've got a steady job in this episode, but an important one. Because we've already got a wheat growing in the big field. It's time now. Let's actually go this way. It's time now to get some oats in the ground. I think it's going to be the perfect crop to grow. I've gone and leased out this horse seeder. It's a direct seeder. It's 6 meters. It doesn't need to be a direct seeder, but I decided to go for it because we have cultivated that field after we did the sugar beets. Now let's open these. I've got 3 gates to open. Yeah, I think oats is probably the best crop. It's either that or I did maybe linseed. But at least I'm going to get, at least a standard into it. It's a standard crop. Straightforward enough. I mean, at some point we could combine into field 3 down there because I removed out that fence. So, I mean, that would be a good sized field. But for now, we'll make do with this. It's going to be perfectly fine. Let's first set up GPS. We're going to do this ourselves. Might start on the up and down passes and then, maybe finish on... Yeah, let's do 3. Let's do 3 headlands. But let's start on them up and down passes. I have also removed it. I think I mentioned as well previously, I've removed out the collision in that wall. So, life should be easier. Right, here we go. Let's get the ball rolling with this. I mean, look at that, though. Imagine how much better the field would be if we combined into field 3 down at the bottom. It still won't be as big as what we're working in over there, but definitely something we can aim at some point. Can't wait. I am really looking forward to going to Scotland, and I think it's going to be good to use that time as well to chill out for a bit. Get my book out and start planning out what I want to do with the farmland. It's a big thing for me, planning out the farmland. I always want to get the story right, but I've got a few draft ideas, and I've got one main idea that I know I'm going to kind of follow, but it's working out all the in-betweens as well and the path to get to that point. So it's going to be interesting. I can sit there, maybe have a few beers, live the dream. I can't wait, honestly. And Scotland's such a beautiful place. I've been twice before, but this is the furthest I've ever gone. I'm going right up to the north end of Scotland, and it's a 9.5 hour drive for me. So, we're talking like 18 hours worth of driving there and back. It's a fair trek. That's the most I've ever driven before, and it's going to be an adventure, put it that way, a bit of a road trip. Welcome back, everybody. We've planted in the oats. I'm now doing a bit of rolling. Started on with the planting by doing the inside first in the field and then finished off with the headland. Kind of do it the other way around this time. Starting with the headland and I'll finish on the up and downs. Do you know what? I was listening to the simulation radios that you can get in FS. I think they're also on Truck Sim, but I wouldn't know. I've not really played Truck Sim. I've played it a couple of times a few years ago, and it was alright. I enjoyed it, but I don't know, I've never actually been a massive fan of the game, which is a shame because I know it is something that I'd probably enjoy, but I'm too invested in Farm Sim to go and try it out, but maybe I should at some point. But anyway, I was saying, the radio, oh man, there was a classic song on. It was The Doors, Riders of the Storm, and I actually love The Doors, man. Really do. Cracking film as well, showing kind of the history of The Doors and yeah, the troubles that he faced. But I just love The Doors, yeah. So I just thought I'd say, I actually prolonged the time lapse. I was going to stop and cut back in when I started the rolling, but the song was still going. So I thought, no, I'm going to have to listen to this song before I stop. Because obviously copyright and all that stuff, can't really play the song in the video, unfortunately. But yeah, The Doors, big fan. So, but we're going to get through this. It's been a steady episode. I've liked it, I'll be honest. It's been nice to have a bit more of a casual, kind of just chilled out episode. Later on in the evening for me, just playing the game. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, I do feel like a lot of players have become disinterested in FS. I find that the community as a whole is struggling. And you know what? It's justified. It is. I think a lot of players are still loving the game, including myself. But I don't like the direction we're headed in. I'll be honest, it's worrying. I thought we'd just talk about it, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And remember, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just put your opinion out there as long as it's respectful. That's all that matters to me. But just say the truth and never hide from it. If you don't, you're not enjoying FS as much as you did maybe in 19 or even 22, or you are enjoying it, you like 25 and so on. I mean, for me, I love the game, like I do, and I think 25 visually is a big jump up. It's I like the visuals of it. I like the fact that it's just improved graphically, but performance-wise, it's obviously caused quite a few issues. That's not something Giants can hide from, and they need to address that. So the visual effects is also there on console and not just high-end PCs. So I understand that, and I think that Giants do need to focus on that. But for me, the biggest worry I've got with the game is I don't like the direction it's heading in. It's more of an arcade game. I feel like they're trying to focus more on arcade, easy gameplay than actually in-depth simulation. Now, the best part of the game for me, like falling in love with it, was when FS17 was around on console, and then moving over to 19 was where I really fell in love with the game, because Seasons, Maze Plus just come out, and then I felt like we were getting more maps, which is understandable because the more detailed they are, like they are now, the longer it takes modders to make. So I don't mind the map side of it. I understand we're going to get less of them. The thing I struggle with is the fact that they ruined Seasons for me. Like, Giants completely messed that up. There's no two ways about it. They bodged it and ruined it. It's now just a visual effect. It has no impact on gameplay. And that seems to be where they've gone. Even with FS25, everything's visual. The ground deformation, yeah, it looks really good. I like it, but it's adding nothing to the game for me. It's like gameplay-wise, which is what entertains us, what keeps us coming back and putting thousands of hours in. Because a lot of us have put 1,000+ hours into each generation of this game. And that's where my problem lies. Like, I just want to see some gameplay enhancements, and I feel like it needs to be a bit more in depth. Now, I get it. Some players don't want that, and that's why it's, again, opinions, and everyone's entitled to that. So maybe they could look at doing a difficulty setting, or if you want to play like more of an arcade version of it, then you don't need to have this setting. But I'd like it to be an option where you can be more in depth. And I had a load of suggestions and put them all together, and for a reason I basically just put a load of suggestions together, and some of them were just things that I would love to see. Seasons is a big part of that, but also like a dynamic economy where it reacts to the world around. Also like an interactive market when it comes to contracts, something that you can do with negotiations, like you can actually negotiate your contracts that you're doing, so it's a bit more in depth and you're managing it more. And then again, a fully fledged second-hand market that is in the game for equipment, with it being a prominent thing in real life. I do feel like we need to see something like that, and currently we're not getting that, are we? So I'd like to see that, and that's just the economy side of things. I feel like we could get a better management on that and the finance side to give you more incentive to play the game and work hard and have that end goal. And I think that's what most simulation games, you look at the counterparts, you look at other simulation games that you class in the same genre as farm sim. They all are more in-depth games and mainly are focused on simulation for the PC. And I understand that trust me, I don't want it to move away from console. Like, I really don't think that would be a wise idea for Giants, because I want the game to grow and I want the Giants to do well, because the game does well then. But I feel like there's so many things they could add in. I really do. I mean, the list that I made was very long and it's a lot more than what I've said. But, things like seasons, things like more management on crops, pests, and overall to animals. I put in things like, like having visits from the vets, health of the animals, and that also interacts with the dynamic market. So how they're being looked after, the weight of the cow determines the price you get at market, things like that. The quality of the milk is actually determined by the health of the cow as well, and just more management side of things. And do you know what's good about that as well? Like, if Giants did implement stuff like that into the game, even as a DLC, like, I'd happily take it as a DLC, even though I do think it should be base game. It's not actually that big in size, and it can come to console if Giants make this. Like, if Giants add these things, and it can come to console. But you look at, like, the next pack that came out, that's got so many megabytes of data, or gigabytes of data, should I say. And that takes up space on console more than it would on a PC. It matters more there. You look at slot counts and stuff like that. Whereas scripts and the way they change the game for gameplay reasons wouldn't actually take up slot counts and that much data. Like, most of the script mods that you see on Mod Hub for PC are really small in size because it's just coding. Most of it is just coding, and it's not, you don't need to generate models and stuff like that. Some of them you will if you're adding some new gameplay feature in that maybe means you have to have something modeled within the game for it to kind of interact with. Fair play, but it still wouldn't be the size of Giants making a pack of I don't know, maybe they bring in a different brand and they've got tools and tractors and whatever else. That takes up space and size. And you're seeing this now with Giants releasing a lot of mods to Mod Hub that were in the game maybe in 22. The problem is, on console, that console players take a hit there because that's now slot counts. And that's, again, like something that I feel like if you just leave that as a mod so people can pick, fair play. Console players can have the choice then. PC players can have the choice as well. Even though it doesn't matter about slot counts. You could download them all on PC and it wouldn't matter. But what would be good is if you add new gameplay features in, make that a focus, and then the excitement that would be generated by having all these new cool things to do in the game would so much outweigh the negative that's actually around right now. And you can't hide from it. There is, like, some content creators might just completely be oblivious to it because they don't want to kind of slate anything negative around Giant Software. That is not me and never will be. Like, it's not. And I don't care at all. It'll never be me. I know for a fact, I've seen it with my own eyes, people aren't happy with FS25. The drop off from when it's originally got launched has been something that Giants are clearly aware of, and it needs to, that they need to take a different path. They have to. That's my opinion, and I think a lot of other people share that opinion. And I'm hopeful, though. Like, I'm hopeful. I love the game. I love Giant Software. I want it to do well, because if the game does well and Giants do well, then I'm enjoying the game more. It's a benefit for everybody as a player. And I just hope they do. I hope they do take a different direction soon. I hope they see that the DLCs that they are making and stuff like that is just not what people actually want. There'll be a small group, that want that. But the majority want a simulation game. The majority want more in-depth features to take up the time because we all have real life. We all work hard. We come on a video game to have fun and enjoy it, and escape and all that stuff. And I get it. The arcade side of it, where it's just like up and down and just do a bit of farming and get your little greenhouse or whatever else, is fun. It is fun. But I think managing a farm and being truly engrossed into the game because you feel like that's something that I've created, and look at all these different aspects that could go wrong, and I need to kind of think outside the box on certain things, and it's more of a challenge. To me, that entertains for longer. Yes, there's a steeper learning curve, but we can all just learn that over time. It's not like it's it's not like it's too deep of a learning curve. You can happily learn it and move ahead. It's like auto drive and courseplay. First time anyone uses that, they might be like, oh, what is this? This is too much. But, within a few weeks of using it, you'll be completely accustomed to it and happy, and you can follow tutorials. And the same would apply to games. Like, if they did add in maybe an animal overhaul or a DLC that made the game more of a difficult setting and enhanced the simulation side, so there was more management on finances, more management on animals and crop management. You could have pesticides and crop failures and droughts and stuff like that was going on. There'll be content creators doing tutorials on it, including myself. Like, I would love to get an in-depth tutorial on something new that was added, because I'd feel the passion for it and it'd come across in the video. That's just I think it's just it goes without saying. And I know I've gone on a proper tangent rant here, but I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I have seen some creators that just say, no, the game's amazing. The game's amazing. There's no faults with it. The game's amazing. And that's just not true. It's not true at all. And the truth is this: the game visually looks much better. It's a great game, and I enjoy playing it, and I won't stop playing it, but it isn't what I hoped for. I hoped for some more gameplay features, and I've always been honest about that. And I'd still have hope that before FS25 ends, we will see stuff like that added in, even if it's not, like, you look at precision farming, that's going to be coming out. Like, things along them lines, I'd like precision farming to be extended on. If they don't extend on precision farming, I will be calling it out, because I will be the first person in a video that showcases precision farming to say, right, this should have been this. They've delayed it. They've had the time to do it. People have cried out for it. Listen to the fans of the game and give the people what they want. That's basically it. So I will say it. I'll be disappointed, and I'll be honest that I'm disappointed that they haven't taken that step, if that's the case. But that's not confirmed or anything. I'm very hopeful. If you look at it from afar, it does look like they have delayed, and they may be upgrading it, adding new features in. That would be super cool. So we'll see. Time will tell on that, but I'm very hopeful. And I think that'll be a really good strike, because I think without precision farming, the game is definitely less enjoyable for me. Just because I want that kind of extra feature to it. But I want it to also be built on. Seasons needs to be improved. It can't just be a visual effect. There is implications to seasons in farming. It's something they can't hide from just to make an arcade version of a simulation game. Because I still think to this day that if Giant Software had a competitor that made a game, it would improve everything for players, because it keep each company on the toes, making sure they're adding the things in the players want, and that's only a benefit for the players. But again, they haven't got. It's like a monopoly. It's just Giant Software, and that's it. And I think that's sometimes where it there's a lapse in what's going on. But you can't fault them, because they have done a lot. Visually it's changed and everything. They have added a lot to the game. But anyway, I'm completely ranting, like full on rant there. Just went off on a tangent, but I had to just say that I'm kind of worried about it. I'm a bit worried about it. As a creator on Farm Sim, to see that people are just getting so bored already, and it is the right word. They're all bored of Farming Simulator 25 and maybe going back to 22 because of the mods, or even moving on to other games. If Giants see that, then they must themselves be as worried, or even surely more worried than I am as a creator. It is what it is. But anyway, the good thing about it is we've got OxygenDavid, who's making brilliant maps. Whitcomb Park will be coming out, and Farming Simulator 25 and Whitcomb Park are properly going to be good. Trust me on that. I've seen pictures. I can't show any of them, but I have seen pictures of it in 25, and you will be visually impressed. It will make, it basically utilizes the improvement in the visuals that we get from Farming Simulator 25. So yeah, there's definitely things to be positive about. Like the DLC coming at the end of the year. It's a UK map, everybody. I guarantee you it's a UK map. It's definitely going to be a UK map. And it's obviously going to have, with that, if you look at other expansions, like the Premium expansion, the Platinum expansion from the last generation, 22, we'll probably get crops. We'll probably get some equipment. And if it's UK based, maybe like a fictional map set in Scotland or something like that, which is where I think it's going to be, then we're probably going to get equipment that suits that area. So we'll probably get some British and Irish style maybe equipment with some new crops that fit that area. And who knows, maybe some new animals. It did look like there was Highlands in that picture. So fingers crossed, there's plenty of things to look forward to. We just got to kind of get through this. Giants need to sort out mod testing as well. 40 days waiting list for mod testing. All that will do is put off modders and also make modders use third-party sites because they want to get it out to the people. And Giants really need to do something about that because it's on them. The manpowers, they need to change. I know they've let staff go. They've had changes within the company. They really need to tackle that for me. And then obviously, address the issues with stability and performance issues. And also, come on, add some new gameplay features in. It's the same game, just looks better. But anyway, there we go. All sorted. Planted in the oats. Done some rolling as well. So if we have a quick look at that, put on needs rolling because I know this whole big field over here needs rolling, but we're not worried about that. We did the mulching on that field, so it kind of like matches up. We got the extra small amount for doing mulching on that, but we didn't get the rolling. On this one, we didn't get the mulching, but we got the rolling, so you can't complain. The one thing I do need to sort out, though, is, again, my grass fields aren't 100% fertilised. I completely missed this one. I keep doing that, and it's a strange one that I keep overlooking. Now, I have got some slurry, and I have got some muck. Probably enough to cover these grass fields. But, I mean, it says ready to harvest, so I'm sure it's not going to jump up. I mean, I can try it out and see what happens, maybe do a bit of a test, but I think we're going to have to chop it and then make sure next time round to get a tanker, because I've got a small tanker, but we need a bigger tanker than that, or even a big muck spreader. I've probably got enough. In fact, let's just have a quick look to see how much slurry I've got, because it's only going to be in my beef stock. Milking indoor, I've got 18,000 litres of slurry. Won't have much, but I've got 56,000 litres there, and I've probably got as well, if I just have a quick run over to the muck heap, probably got about maybe the same amount in manure. So I've definitely got like 100,000 litres in total, I'd say, of a combination between manure and slurry to get on the fields. But I feel like I've not done much of it. My God, I've only got 13,000 litres. What is going on? That is not much at all. And I've made sure they've always had straw. It's probably because of the fact I had issues with the connect. I say I make sure they've always got straw. There's no bloody straw in there. Oh, there is. There's 5,800. So they could do with a bit more. But that's probably got something to do with the fact it wasn't connected at the start. So the slurry's been generating, but the manure hasn't. That's probably what that is. But, we've still got quite a bit of it. And I think 50, 60,000 litres of slurry would go far. So I'll test it out. Right at the end of this episode, I'm just going to go and do a bit of slurry spreading on that field just to see if it does change it. If it does, then I'll make sure to get that sorted out. For the next episode, we'll come up with a bit of a plan. But I'm just glad all the crops are now planted in. We've also paid off £100,000 to a loan, which is important to do because I set myself at the start with a vast loan, and it was a massive loan, really. And, the plan is to bring that over as well to the next series, but the more we can chip off, the more we can take off it, the better it is going into the next map and so on. So next episode is definitely going to be grass work in 38 and 10. I'll be doing hay. I'll try and get it fully fertilised before, but if not, we're going to have to just take that bit of a hit, which is not a main issue. But I'm just glad the crops in. We've got oats in 2, and then the 5-7 combinations wheat. So pretty much just fertilising on that ground. Weeding probably is going to be on this one and fertiliser. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to be doing a lot of grass work. But on that note, I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it every time. And let me know in the comment section what you think. You know, remember, be respectful, be constructive. It's probably the best way to be. You know, nothing comes from just kind of slating and just driving hate forwards. Just say it as it is. Be honest. And yeah, that's all you can do. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your time. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up for me. That really does help me out. And if you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator. See you, everybody.